video. I couldn't help doing it again on a video. That's how good the line is. I have to say it in a second video. It's dude, how good of a line is it? I'm sorry. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
It was a good line.
It's amazing.
I agree.
All right, this is our Easter eggs and references videos for everything we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm sure we've missed a few things. Please point out in the comments section.
There's a lot we've missed.
Yeah,
so
but
let us know, please.
Yeah, and also James Gunn did mention that there's going to be years of picking apart a lot of the Easter eggs, and also from the first film, he even said there was in the first film there's an Easter egg no one's ever discovered. We're hoping we're going to be. We're hoping
we're on the trail.
We're on the trail, guys. We're looking for it like it's Waldo. Okay, so getting into this. The first thing that Easter egg that I noticed was with Baby Groot when he's dancing to the Blue Sky song by ELO, and then you get that running joke from Drax, because at the end of the first film in that one of the post-credit scenes we see Baby Groot dancing to the Jackson 5 song.
Hilarious.
It's great, and that's actually James Gunn dancing. Fun fact. We get to see that Drax, every time Drax looks over, Baby Groot freezes, and that joke continues in the beginning battle when that interdimensional alien thing is coming after the Amulix batteries, Drax. Binary batteries, or whatever he says.
Sounds nothing like that.
Sounds nothing like Amulix. What are you talking about? So I thought that I love that how they continued that gag on, and it really worked for me. I loved it.
Our second Easter egg is also continued from the first movie. In both movies, Yondu calls Peter's father a jackass. In the first one, he says his father was a jackass anyway, and then in this one, when he comes in with his ship, he says, "Hey there, jackass," or something like that. But another connection from the first movie. Also, from the first movie, we get to see Rocket wanting that guy's eyeball again.
Vorker.
I need that eyeball. Nope, nope, no, he doesn't. Not really. And then Groot brings it when he's trying to bring the fin. But another connection to the first movie.
In one of my favorite sequences in the film when they're blasting through dimensions or going into those holes and stuff, and then
700 jumps.
Yeah, their faces like like it was so fun. Oh, it was hysterical, and there were so many things going on. I was trying to like watch so closely because it's going so fast, and
There's
I knew
so many.
and I guarantee you, when we get that on Blu-ray, we are gonna pause and freeze frame and get all the Easter eggs out of that.
Yep.
But the ones I did notice on as when it was going so fast, we saw two Cronin fighting in Cronin. They're big rock creatures. We actually got to see a Cronin in Thor: The Dark World when they're having that battle at the beginning, and Thor like destroys that rock thing. That was actually Korg, and then he says, "Anyone else?" And Korg is actually a Cronin that was in Planet Hulk in the animated film and in the comic, and he helps out with Hulk fight with Meek in that whole battle against the Red King. And so Korg is actually going to be making an appearance in Thor Ragnarok, which is interesting. I thought Thor kind of destroyed him in the second movie, but he's kind of
pull the shit together.
Maybe Humpty Dumpty did come back from falling on a wall, right?
He did.
So I mean, you know. So, but what's interesting is who's playing Korg in Thor Ragnarok is Taika Waititi, the director of the film. Also, too, fun little fact, I've mentioned in some other videos, he's he was Ryan Reynolds' best friend in Green Lantern, so I like how he's playing Korg. That's pretty cool, but the big thing is we got to see two Cronin fighting, so that was cool.
Yeah, we also got to see them pass through the Sanctuary, like where Thanos is. We didn't see Thanos there, but we just saw it kind of, blank. No one was really in there, but it was kind of cool. I wish we would have seen Thanos or something. I mean, probably not, but that would have been cool, but he wasn't really there.
Hey, he's getting ready for Infinity War, just saying.
I'll do this myself.
Yeah, I love to, it's probably around that time. I do really love the part, a few people in my theater laughed. I don't think most people got this one, when Peter gives Kraglin the Yaku arrow. He gives him a Zune. Zune was actually Microsoft's answer to Apple's iPod, and it didn't do well at all. No, it was so I mean, it got a little bit of recognition at first, but then once the iPhone started coming out, it went dead, and no one ever heard it. So I thought it was hysterical that of all things, Kraglin brought him back a Zune. But the best part was there's 300 songs.
It's still an MP3 player.
300 songs for James Gunn to play with for Guardians 3. Like, also too, I'm thinking like, because again this is set before Infinity War and we're not going to see Infinity Wars before Volume 3, is Peter going to be playing with his music when he's fighting Thanos, or is I'm just sure. It's interesting.
Although he did put it aside when they were fighting that thing in the very beginning. He's like, no, I'm aside with Drax on this one.
Well, yeah, but Groot then
he did.
Right, yeah. Okay, no, but interesting. I love the whole Zoom.
I hope he does.
I thought it would have been funnier if the whole crowd would have been understood what was going on, but I thought it was a very hysterical joke.
It was kind of random. I was like, what? Zoom? This is what everyone's listening to? A little bit out of touch.
Well, I guess when Peter comes to Earth, when he comes back to Earth, to visit Grandpa and stop Thanos from destroying the world, he's going to see that he's got one of the very few Zunes left. So that'll be cool.
We also get a lot of mentions about the Kree. Yondu's talking about how he was sold into slavery, and all that. But it's just a lot more setup for later Marvel phases, and also kind of Captain Marvel too. Yeah. That's going to have Kree's going to be in that storyline. So
I can't wait to see Captain Marvel, Brie Larson's playing her. So yeah, I picked up on that too. That was really cool. Also, again, I could be a little bit wrong on this one. Rocket, when they pass by Ego and then they're talking about who saved them, you know, from Aisha and the Sovereign and all those ships, and Rocket says, you know, it was a 1-inch man like this. And
that's how Vision works.
Yeah, exactly. But like the reference to the 1-inch man, I know they have not been to Earth, and Ant-Man in this timeline, 2014, Scott Lang doesn't exist yet in terms of he doesn't have the Ant-Man suit. But I just thought it might have been a little reference, like a 1-inch man, Ant-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I might be totally wrong.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a good call. Also, in the kind of end credits, we get to see the Grandmaster dancing around a little bit, Jeff Goldblum. So we're gonna see him in Thor Ragnarok. So that was kind of cool. Throw him in there.
Yeah, it was cool. I have a personal theory that I think they were just filming Jeff Goldblum in his trailer, and that's just what he does.
I think so, and he's wearing the costume.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. That's probably what happened. So either way, it was really cool to see the Grandmaster because, as you said, the upcoming in Thor Ragnarok, he's taking the role of the Red King, where he takes over the gladiator fights. Also, too, we get to see Cosmo the dog now, and we saw Cosmo the dog in the first movie. He was in the Collector's Collection, and then when his slave Karina, when she touches the Power Stone and destroys everything in the collection, Cosmo, Howard the Duck, they all get free and all that. But we get to, and then he licks the Collector's face in the after credits scene in the first Guardians. We get to actually see Cosmo in the end credits. I believe he's in one of those colored things like we saw in the Grandmaster. If you know anything about Cosmo the dog in the comic books, he actually runs Nowhere, which is the base of operations for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he actually sets them on a lot of their missions, and him and Rocket Raccoon in the comic books, they hate each other.
All right, another Easter egg is we get to see Ego the Planet kind of look like he does in the comics in that one scene where Kraglin and Yondu are all coming into, basically arriving on the planet. We get to see it kind of looks like his face. It looks all evil and stuff, but that's kind of how he looks in the comics. So that was a cool little shot to throw in.
It was awesome, and it did really kind of look a little like Kurt Russell.
It totally
too.
did. I mean, it was his face. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was.
Probably like kind of Dormammu was Benedict Cumberbatch's face, kind of thing. So
was it?
Oh yeah, it was, and
it
was Benedict Cumberbatch's voice too.
Interesting.
Fun fact. Yeah, makes you watch that scene differently now.
Interesting.
Yeah. But dude, you got Benedict Cumberbatch. Use his voice, man.
Might as well. He's
Smog.
Yeah.
And also I am Khan.
Yeah. That was nice.
Oh, he was great as Khan. Also, we got some Empire Strikes Back references because they get into an asteroid field, which is of course like in the Empire, they get into an asteroid field, and there's a lot of bickering going on between Rocket and Peter Quill, Star-Lord, because about who should be driving because he's the greatest pilot. Also, too, they're like, we can only get through this with the greatest pilot. That's like Han Solo is the greatest pilot. Also, too, the bickering I just mentioned.
Anakin's the greatest pilot.
Right. Getting back to the bickering I was just talking about between Peter and Rocket Raccoon, it reminded me a lot of when Han Solo's arguing with C3. Sir, the possibilities of us...
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. So it just felt like that bickering. Also, too, we got revelations of the father is evil and wants to rule the galaxy with his son. Just kind of vibes there again. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, this is technically phase 3, not phase 2, so they don't, like, not every one of these has one of those references, but this one still kind of does.
And we've also mentioned that the Marvel creators, Kevin Feige and all the directors, writers, they all love Star Wars. We mentioned in all our Marvel phase 2 reviews that the arms get cut off of people in those films, including Guardians of the Galaxy, where Gamora loses her arm and Groot loses both his arms. Nebula, sorry. Jeez, there's so many names to remember. Yes, thank you for correcting me. Nebula.
Well, what, 14 movies in?
15.
15?
Not counting, 15.
We're not counting. So also, when Ego, starts his plan and those little seeds spores explode into that giant mass or whatever, it's actually James Gunn's parents are the ones who were like taking a picture of it right before it starts up again. So that was kind of a little to throw his parents in there.
Yeah, I agree. And James Gunn and Sean Gunn's parents, that was really cool to see them. Also, too, I believe we got to see Grandpa Quill. Like, we see two people in a car, like, when it stops. I believe that is Grandpa Quill, and, like, it says friend in the IMDb. So that was cool to see that. You got to watch that again closely when you see that next time.
I was wondering, they obviously showed them close up. I was wondering who that was.
It was Grandpa Quill. So I thought that was really cool. Then also, when we had Stan, and when they're going through the dimensions again, and Stanley's talking to the Watchers about how he was once a FedEx guy. Again, that makes no sense because this is in 2014. That was in 2016. See my arguments? Just saying.
Maybe the after credit scenes are
later.
All over the place.
That's a good argument. Good argument. So he talks about him being a FedEx guy, once, and if you remember in Captain America: Civil War, he's a FedEx guy, and he delivers a personal letter from Captain America to Tony Stark. So that's that reference there in Easter egg. So I thought that was pretty cool.
We also get to see Pac-Man in this movie when Quill turns into Pac-Man when he's fighting he's fighting his dad, and they're both Ego turns into this giant version of himself, and he's just Pac-Man. I thought that was hilarious. Kind of a serious moment where they throw in a hint of comedy. I kind of laughed out loud during that point. I'm like, yes, that's awesome.
I agree, and I love that song, Fleetwood Mac song that they put into it. Fits right in, and the Pac-Man noises that they're making, like it just.
Well, he referenced Pac-Man early in the movie too, where he's like, I'm gonna build a Pac-Man statue, and I'm gonna build some weird stuff. Like they mentioned it earlier too.
I wanted to see that planet, and also too, he referenced earlier talking about Heather Locklear. That's one of his crushes, probably from the 80s, because that's the era he grew up in. Also, in the first film, he named his ship the Milano, so now we know two of his crushes are Heather Locklear and Alyssa Milano. Those are his two crushes. So pretty cool. We know who Star-Lord's crushes are, and I agree, they're pretty good-looking women.
And speaking of good-looking people, we also got a David Hasselhoff cameo, which I thought was hilarious. Where Ego just turns into him real quick. I wanted to find a form that you would find suitable, or whatever the line is. But that was pretty funny that he came in and did that.
Yeah, and also at the end credits, he says, "We are Groot."
That's true.
And
that's
also,
true.
and we got to see Peter saying he always imagined that was his father, and him being on Knight Rider. Was that what the show was called? So that was before the Baywatch days. Also, too, David Hasselhoff played actually Nick Fury in a 1990. I think it was 98. I could be wrong, but in the 90s, he played in a TV movie. He played Nick Fury. So I thought that was really cool. How he came back to Marvel because he actually was very upset when Samuel L. Jackson got cast as Nick Fury, and I'm glad they made that choice, because no offense, even though David was kind of cool in that weird movie, Samuel Jackson he's way better. Samuel L. Jackson's way better as Nick Fury, so I'm glad they made that choice. And it's cool to see that David kind of reunited back with Marvel, so that was cool to see. Nick Fury's back.
And the last thing we noticed was we get to see Howard the Duck again, where we saw him at, in the end credits scene of the first movie, where in here we see him where Yondu and all the Ravagers are at that club, and he's like, "Well, you're out of luck until you've gone duck." I don't know. It's kind of a random line, but it was cool to see him. I'm sure he's going to show up again somewhere, in one of these movies or something like that.
Yeah, and also that line, too. I got to tell you guys, use that line on women. It always works, especially if you look like Howard the Duck. Oh, yeah. Also, too, fun little fact, Howard the Duck is actually voiced in both Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and this one by Seth Green, so Dr. Evil's son. But that's all the Easter eggs that we could find. If there were any other ones that you guys, I'm sure we missed a bunch. I'm sure we've missed a ton. But from seeing the film twice, those are all the ones I picked up on. Just really looking at it closely this time. So
yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.